Good afternoon, Melissa. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking a couple minutes to chat with me this afternoon. Can you talk to me a little bit about your previous HR experience?
Of course. I have a lot. I've been in the field for just over 15 years now. I started, like many employees in HR, start where I was an administrative assistant, and little by little, I just started taking on more HR roles. At that position, I ended up being the payroll and scheduling manager, and I managed about 130 employees. And I left that role to take on a generalist role. Still in the same field, but it was at that employer where I worked with a wonderful director who really taught me the finer points of HR, who really taught me how to be a generalist and really what employment was all about. Like I said, I fell in love with HR. I started learning about employment law. I got to touch every single piece of HR that I possibly could as a generalist. Not only just payroll, but orientation. I completely renovated their orientation presentation. I revamped their onboarding process. That's actually something that I do with every job is I reinvent processes. I like to streamline everything. I really like to make everything better. At that role, I also was in charge of all of the benefits administration. I've worked with brokers negotiating total rewards packages for our employees. I've done everything from full cycle recruiting from the ground up all the way through end of employment, COBRA administration, workers' compensation, and everything in between.
Awesome. So you have a very broad experience. So that's great. So with your next position that you're looking to move into, what's important to you?
So in the next position that I'm looking for, what's important for me is working for a company that wants to move forward and get better. I have been a generalist for a lot of years. Like I said before, I've done all of that transactional work. I want to take on a role that has more strategic planning. I want to be a manager of some kind. Eventually, I'd like to be an HR director, but I'd really like to do in my next job, I would really like to move away from the transactional and start pivoting towards more of the strategic planning management type of HR.
Okay, great. And tell me one fun thing about yourself.
Just one?
Just one.
Oh gosh, I have a lot. I am an avid Disney nerd and like to animate in my spare time with my son. Old school though, on paper. Although I'm a huge advocate for technology, when I'm drawing and I'm doing art, it really has to be old school on paper and pencils and crayons and whatever other physical media I can get.
Nice. Well, that's an awesome skill set to have. I'm not very savvy when it comes to that, so I can definitely appreciate that skill set. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for taking a couple minutes with me this afternoon. We will be back in touch soon, and I look forward to working with you here in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks.